The book of Esther tells the remarkable story of how a Jewish woman named Esther becomes queen of Persia and courageously saves her people from a genocidal plot. It's a story of divine providence, courage, and God's protection over his people, even when his name is never explicitly mentioned in the text. Set during the reign of King Xerxes, Ahasuerus of Persia, the book demonstrates how God works behind the scenes to preserve his people from destruction. Chapters 1 to 2. Esther becomes queen. The banquet and Vashti's downfall. Chapter 1. The book opens with King Xerxes hosting a grand banquet, during which he calls for his queen Vashti to appear before the guests. She refuses, and as a result, Vashti is removed from her position as queen. This sets the stage for Esther's rise. Esther chosen as queen, Chapter 2. A royal search begins for a new queen, and Esther, a young Jewish woman, is chosen. Esther is raised by her cousin Mordecai, who instructs her not to reveal her Jewish identity. Esther wins the king's favor and is crowned Queen of Persia. Chapters 3 to 4. Haman's plot and Esther's courage. Haman's hatred of the Jews. Chapter 3. Haman, a high-ranking official in the Persian court, becomes enraged when Mordecai refuses to bow to him. In retaliation, Haman devises a plot to kill all the Jews in the Persian Empire and secures the king's approval to issue a decree for their destruction. Mordecai's plea to Esther, Chapter 4. When Mordecai learns of the plot, he urges Esther to use her position as queen to plead with the king on behalf of her people. Initially hesitant, Esther shows great courage, deciding to risk her life by approaching the king, saying, "If I perish, I perish." Chapters 5 to 7. Esther's plan and Haman's downfall. Esther's banquets, Chapters 5 to 6. Esther invites the king and Haman to a banquet, but she doesn't immediately reveal her request. She invites them to a second banquet, at which she finally exposes Haman's plot to annihilate the Jews. The king is enraged and orders Haman to be executed on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. Mordecai honored. Chapter 6. Meanwhile, Mordecai is honored by the king for uncovering a previous assassination plot, further highlighting the dramatic reversal of fortunes for the key characters. Chapters 8 to 10. The Jews saved and celebrating Purim. The decree reversed. Chapter 8. Esther and Mordecai work together to issue a new decree that allows the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies. The Jewish people are empowered to stand up for their lives, leading to their victory. Victory and celebration. Chapter 9. The Jews successfully defend themselves, and the days of their deliverance are celebrated as the festival of Purim, a joyous holiday still observed by Jews today. Mordecai rises to a position of great influence in the Persian court. Mordecai's legacy. Chapter 10. The book concludes by highlighting Mordecai's rise to prominence, marking him as a leader who worked for the good of his people and for peace throughout the empire. Key themes and lessons. Divine providence. Although God's name is never mentioned in the book, his hand is clearly at work behind the scenes, orchestrating events to protect his people. The story emphasizes that even in times when God seems hidden, he is still actively working for the good of his people. Courage and faith. Esther's bravery in approaching the king, knowing that it could cost her life, shows the importance of standing up for what is right, even in the face of fear. Her example teaches us to trust God and act with faith, even in difficult circumstances. The reversal of fortunes. The book of Esther highlights dramatic reversals. Haman's plan to destroy the Jews backfires, and he ends up being executed on his own gallows, while Mordecai, who was once in danger, is honored. This theme of reversal underscores God's justice and protection over his people. Conclusion. The book of Esther is a captivating story of courage, faith, and divine intervention. It teaches us that God is always at work, even in the most unlikely situations, and that one person's bravery can have a profound impact on the fate of many. The festival of Purim, which celebrates the Jews' deliverance, is a lasting reminder of God's faithfulness and the power of standing up for righteousness.